Good evening. Good evening. Hello. All right. So we are live. I'm going to wait for a minute or so to see who joins us. Let's see who comes into the room this evening. So we are going to talk about one of two viral posts that I have going on right now. We're going to get to the second one in a minute, but I'd like to open the floor up for discussion about this first post. And it is entitled, Stop Starving Your Husband. So we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. So come in. Thank you so much for joining me. Do me a favor, let us know your first name and the city, state, or country that you're coming to me from. So let's talk about it tonight. Let's have an adult conversation about sex or the lack of sex in marriage, because this is a thing. This is a thing. We have to address it. We can no longer deny, especially when you look at my DMs, we can no longer deny that the lack of sexual intimacy in a marriage is a huge problem. We have to talk about it. And I'm going to say this. I had a lot of ladies come into my DM as well, because they felt a way about me saying what I said, and they had a lot of justification as to why they are not providing sexual intimacy for their husbands or their partners. And so we're going to talk about it, because again, I can only talk for 90 seconds through a reel, so I can't really unpack everything that I want to unpack, but we're going to talk about it tonight. So please let me know your first name, the city, state, or country that you are coming to me from, if you'd like to share. If not, that's fine. But tonight we're going to have a grown folks conversation, okay? We are going to share our thoughts and opinions and our feelings about this. Everyone's thoughts and opinions are welcome unless they are disrespectful, unless they are off topic. So if you want to, insult me, if you want to insult the way I look or the way I talk, or you want to tell me I'm probably single or I don't see no rings, you will be removed from this discussion. That doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about. You will be removed and blocked, and that's that. I don't tolerate any disrespect, and there's no reason for it. Come in, have an adult conversation, be respectful, be kind. That's all I ask. And you know what? Be open. You might hear some thoughts and opinions different from your own. I know I do every day, and I'm always open to have a conversation. So let's do that tonight. And ladies, listen to the gentlemen. Gentlemen, listen to the ladies. So I'm sure they're going to have something to say as well as the gentlemen. This is your time to talk about it. Okay? First things first, I do want to talk to the, literally no reason for the disrespect, for sure. So first things first, I actually want to talk to the gentlemen. If there are gentlemen on this live tonight, I want to talk a little bit about some of the reasons why your woman may not want to have sex with you, your wife. Okay? And I want you to be open. I want you to be open to this discussion. So the fellas have already brought it to my attention that a lack of sex, a lack of good sex, let's go there. So, because we don't just want sex, we would like to have good sex. But that's really bringing them down in more ways than one. And I agree. I can only imagine that. So here's how I equate sex for men. So sex for men is an emotional need. And some women may be surprised to hear that, but it's the truth. Men need sex. That is one of their core emotional needs. That information is taken from Willard Harley's book. Okay? His Needs, Her Needs. I had to cut the title of the book had to come to me. His Needs, Her Needs by Willard Harley. We have 10 core emotional needs. 5 for men, 5 for women. And sometimes, especially in this modern day world, they become interchangeable. But one of the needs of a man is sex. Okay? You need to understand that. And based on my DMs and the thousands of comments that I'm getting on my video, yes, I think they would agree that men need sex. But here's what women need. So just like a man needs sex, A woman needs affection. A woman needs talking, right? She needs to talk to her man, and she wants her man to talk to her. So ladies, I want you to imagine that if every day you came home from work, or let's say you were already at home because you stay at home with your children, and your man didn't want to talk and didn't want to listen to you talk. And he did that over and over and over and so on and so on and so on. You did not get the love and affection that you needed. That is how a lot of men feel when there is no sexual intimacy. Like, it is a need. And ladies, I want you to hear me on this. Just because it's not what you need, that doesn't mean it's not what he needs, right? My favorite food may be chicken. And yet there are people out here in the world that are vegetarian, that are vegan. They don't need chicken like I need chicken. They don't eat meat like I need meat. But one is not going to be, downplayed more than the other. We're not going to discredit one from the other. If that's what you need, that's what you need. And so, yes, men need sex like women need talking or affection. So, okay, fellas, I'm talking to you. And these are some things that your lady may not know, or she may not want to express, but I'm going to express it. One thing about me is I'm direct. I'm direct. There is no beating around the bush with me. I'm going to be direct. I'm going to be straightforward. And hopefully we're going to have a respectful conversation. So upon really thinking about this and talking in my own friend group, and my friend group is mixed. I've got men in there. I've got women in there. I've got people of all races, all ethnicities. We've talked about this because they've seen the reel, and they've given me their thoughts and opinions on it. But one of the number one reasons why your woman may not be making love with you anymore, and this is going to be hard to hear, and it would definitely be hard for the woman to say, but she may never say it. And it is this: she is just not into you. Like, she is just not into you. Maybe she never has been into you. And that is probably why the sex has, gone from, okay, we were having sex while dating, or, we were having sex early on in the marriage, and it has just tanked. Because here's the reality that women don't want to say, and men probably don't want to hear. If that woman married you and you were not her absolute 100% first choice, she is just not into you. Not like that. Not like that. And so guess what? The first thing is going to go, if you marry someone and you're not their first choice, the first thing that's going to go is sex. That's the first thing that's going to drop off, because the person is like, it's okay. It's okay in the beginning, whatever. But long term, I'm just not feeling him like that. And that's a reality that a lot of people have got to come to. That your woman just may not be into you, may have never really been into you like that. Let me give you a little story. I was dating a man. I had a hand surgery. So I had a reconstructive hand surgery and an outpatient surgery. And so my hand is in like a wrap and a cast. I had to put it in something, this foam like tube, while I slept, to keep me from rolling over on it and re-injuring it or tearing out the pin that was in it. And I kid you all not, I hadn't been out of surgery 2 days. And the man I was dating came over to look in on me and make sure I was okay. And it went down. It went down, y'all. So when I tell you, when a woman is into you, like, she could be 2 days out of surgery. And just the sight of you is going to make her want to be all over you. If your woman don't feel that way, she may not be into you like that. And that's the reality. That's a harsh reality that some women, I believe some women do know it. I believe some women know it in their soul, and they're just not going to, they'll never tell their partner that I'm just not into you like that. So that's the first reason. Okay. She's just not into you, and probably has not been. Here's a reason that a lot of women gave me, and I'm not going to discredit it because it is valid, depending on the situation and what's going on. And it's the whole, she's tired, she's worked hard, she's worked out the house 8 hours a day, same as you. You know, she's done just as hard a job as you. And she has to come home. She has to deal with the home and the house and the children. And maybe you are not pitching in the way you should. Because remember this, if you are a 2-earner household, if both of you need to work in order for your household to be financially sound, so your full-time job, so she has a full-time job, you have a full-time job, you each have a full-time job. The home and the children and everything in it is a full-time job. So if both of you are working outside of the home, that means when you come home, you have to each split a full-time job. Fellas, if that's not happening, if your wife is working 8 hours and coming home and basically putting in 8 more hours, if she has 2 full-time jobs, yes, that is a valid reason why she would not be, hot and ready to have sex with you. That's a very valid reason. So if you both are working outside the home and you come home, you are splitting that full-time job. That is what's fair and equitable in a 2-earner marriage. So keep that in mind. If in fact, like the woman says, I'm exhausted, I'm in my head all day, I'm thinking, I'm making decisions, I'm coming home and I'm thinking some more and making more decisions, and I'm doing. A woman needs to be in her feminine, and that is being, not doing. Not in her head, drop down in her body. So a woman who's working outside the home all day and coming home and working every single night, she is not in her body. She is not being, she is doing. And so no, she will not approach you for any form of sexual pleasure, and she will rebuff you wanting to have sex with her because she is in a masculine state. And we're going to get to that. The next reason could be the lack of polarity. There is no polarity in your marriage. So she is not in her natural feminine state. She's not the girl and you're not the guy. Either you all are both men or maybe you're both women. But there is a lack of polarity. Polarity is what keeps the marriage spicy. Polarity is what keeps the marriage hot. It's what keeps the marriage sexy. Knowing that my man is going to handle certain things, that my man is going to handle me a certain way. I am the ravishee. He is the ravisher. That's the dynamic we have. That's the polarity dynamic that we have. But fellas, if you're not in your healthy masculine, if you're not providing frame to your marriage or your relationship, if you are not seducing the woman, if you are not ravishing the woman, so your little passive attempt to want to have sex, no, I'm sorry, sweetheart. That's not going to do it. Like, you have to be direct and assertive. You have to be seducing in your spirit. That's a part of your masculine. You have to be in your masculine, and your woman has to be in her feminine. So the lack of polarity is in many, many marriages. Many marriages that I work with, many people that I see, there is a lack of polarity. There is a role reversal. The woman is the man is the woman, or both of them are trying to be the masculine, or both of them are in their feminine. You'll have a roommate situation. You'll have 2 people of the same energy. There is no spark. There is no spice. So polarity is a big part of this equation too. And men must provide frame. Okay? I interviewed this author on the podcast. If you are inclined, if you are serious about this conversation, I want you to head over to YouTube. I want you to look up Better Love Movement. Go to my channel. And I want you to find the interview, it shouldn't be far down, that I did with G.S. Youngblood. It is the book called The Masculine in Relationship, a blueprint for inspiring the trust, lust, and devotion of a strong woman. This is required reading for the men that I work with. Okay? Because a lot of men, especially modern day men, they have lost their ability to be a healthy masculine man. So that could be part of it, the lack of polarity in the relationship. Here's another thing that a lot of people don't realize about women is women get bored more easily than men. Women get bored in relationships. Women certainly get bored sexually. We need novelty. We need to keep things exciting, fresh, new. We need to keep it fun. We need to be flirty. We need seduction. And so a man, here's what I find so interesting about men. Once they get into a groove with a woman, and definitely a woman that they love, right? They get into this groove. They're like, okay, this is my woman. This is the person I'm going to be monogamous with. This is how I'm going to get my sexual needs met. They get into this groove, and it's like a little formula they have when they want to have sex. They know how they're going to approach. They know what they're going to go for first, second, third. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this for 5 minutes, and I'm going to touch here, and then I'm going to look here, and then it's like a little formula. And 9 times out of 10, men are doing that every single time because they know it's all going to lead to, their pleasure. And it may lead to the woman's pleasure. Okay, I'm not going to discredit that because some of what you're doing, okay, it may lead to the woman's pleasure. But here's the thing. Eventually, your woman will grow bored. She will grow bored of that little routine. She will think, is this it? Like, is this how we're going to make love for the rest of our lives? Oh, no, I can't do it. This is so boring. It's like I can predict with certainty everything he's going to do and when he's going to do it. And Esther Perel's work talks about this in Mating in Captivity. She talks about women are actually bored faster in relationship, in sexual relationship than men. That you all, you get into your little thing that you do and you could do that, and if you're getting it fairly regularly, you could do that forever. Not us. We do not want the same scripted, formulaic sex or lovemaking. We don't. So it could be that she is bored. The novelty has, there's no novelty there. It's boring. So, okay. This is a big one. This is one that a lot of women, again, don't want to admit to. And there was a video. I can't remember who it was. You all let me know if you can remember. It was a guy from the Breakfast Club where his wife admitted that she had not had an orgasm in years. So the lack of sexual pleasure, fellas, that's a big reason. That's a big reason why your woman doesn't want to have sex. She's not enjoying it. There is no orgasm. There is no, So, okay. He says, what is the ideal duration of sex? It is definitely going to depend on the couple. That is something you're going to talk about because every couple is different. There is no formula when it comes to that. You're going to ask your person, like, what's your ideal length? And, longer, shorter, like that's something you and the person you're with, you must talk about. I talk about it. I'm not interested in all night long. Okay. I'm not interested in hours and not over here. You gonna get in, you gonna do what you need to do, and you gonna get out. And I'm not meaning to say that I'm gonna rush you, but don't take hours and hours and hours. My body is not built for that. And most women's bodies are not. But there are some women out there who do need hours and hours. I don't need hours and hours. I know myself. I know my body. I know what I like and what I don't like. So I don't need hours and hours to receive pleasure from my husband. So that's a very, that's a tailor-made conversation that you need to have with your person. Okay? But yeah. Women, there's no novelty, there's no newness, it gets boring, all right? But the lack of physical pleasure, that's what we're talking about now. 70%, let's talk about the research. 70% of women are not having an orgasm from penetration alone. 70%. So y'all really thinking that your intercourse is bringing a woman to an O, and it's not. 70%. Think about that number. So, yeah, most women are not having an orgasm from penetration alone. That means you got something else to do. You got more work to do. But these are the things that aren't being said out loud with words. So he says, men like oral and women don't. What can we do? There are plenty of women who love oral sex. And again, that's a conversation you have to have with your person. And I would have that conversation early on, because, you know, if that's something you want or need, then you need to find someone that wants or needs to provide it. So have that conversation early on. When I do premarital counseling with my couples, we have one session where all we talk about is sex. And I ask some very embarrassing questions, but I ask those questions because I feel like marriage is the greatest thing you can do. It's the most important thing that you can do. And so I want to make sure that my couples are making an informed decision all the way around. And sex is a part of it. Sex is a part of it. What is so mind-altering is there were women in my DM saying, why are you promoting this? Why are you promoting that women are sex kittens and that men, you know, are using us for sex, and, you know, that marriage is just for sex? And I'm like, I did not say that. Y'all, you added your own, you know, worldview, your own perspective of the video. I did not say that. But here's the thing, that you're clueless if you don't agree with this. I don't know anybody that is signing up to get married to be abstinent. Like, you just fooling yourself. Nobody is standing up there in front of the pastor and their family and saying, yep, as soon as I say I do, I'm never going to have sex again. No one. No one. And as a woman, I'm not signing up for that. I'm not signing up to be with this man and not have sex with him. That makes zero sense. So sex is a part of marriage. And we're going to get to that when I get to the biblical, for those of my believers, because we had some believers in the comments. And when we get to the biblical part of this conversation, we're going to talk about that. Because I don't know why people are of the belief that, you know, oh, well, this whole, you making it seem like we gotta, okay, we're going to get to that part. We're going to get to that part. Okay? Some women may have emotional wounds. They may have shame around sex. They may have triggers around sex. They may have sexual abuse or sexual assault. And again, these are premarital conversations. I dig out all of this in premarital counseling because I want to make sure couples are a good fit for each other. And if there's shame, if there's sexual assault or sexual abuse, we must know that going in. A person deserves to know that going in because that's going to affect their sex life. And we have to work on that. We have to heal that. So I have people right now that are in therapy and they're walking through that. And thankfully, their partner is patient. Their partner is lovingly and patiently working with them through that. But that's a big part of it too. And so if your woman has never shared that with you, maybe she has that in her past and maybe she's never shared it. That could be something that's coloring this whole discussion. Okay? A lot of times women, keep in mind, fellas, that you all have 30 times more testosterone than us. So naturally, you know, you all are going to want to have sex more than we do. The second part of that conversation is men are the givers and women are the receivers. So that's a part of this that says, my body is receiving you. Okay, so when we lay down and we make love, when I make love with my husband, my body is receiving him. So I'm the receiver, he's the giver. His body is taking less stress. So my body is taking on the stress of the receiving. Okay, I can get as graphic as y'all would like on this talk, right? So my body is experiencing the friction. My body is experiencing the pressure. So if you're a woman and you've had sex with a man and that man is heavy, That man is, putting his weight in. Your thighs may hurt. So your thighs are hurting. Your yoni is hurting. All that area is experiencing pressure. Pressure, friction, over and over and over for as long as the act takes. So that alone, that very concept alone is the reason why. And men, you hold on, hang in there with me. That's the very reason why a woman cannot have sex 3 times a day. That's not physically possible. And if she did, it's not healthy. So if you love your woman, if you truly love and care about your woman, you will not say, oh, you need to have sex with me 3-4 times a day. That's not loving. You are putting your woman's body under great stress. Okay? So if that's how you want to play it, I think my woman should have sex with me 3 times a day. Okay, I'm going to go to the sex toy store. I'm going to buy a dildo. And I'm going to use that dildo to penetrate you for 15, 20 minutes, however long that you're penetrating her. I'm going to use that dildo to penetrate you. And every time we have sex, I'm going to use that dildo to penetrate you. I can guarantee at some point you will say, no, thank you. Like, no, I'm good. Because once you realize what it's like to be the receiver, maybe then you'll have empathy and you'll understand why a woman cannot have sex every day or 3 times a day. Because the weight of a man, the pressure, the force, the friction, all of those things, that it's a lot. It's a lot. And that's for women who like sex. That's for women who enjoy sex. I can't have sex every day because my body needs to recuperate. My body needs to rebound from having sex. So the idea of, oh, we're going to have sex every day, we're going to have sex 2 and 3 times a day. No, okay, that's not healthy. I don't recommend that anyone do that. Okay, no one is working in the porn industry. No one is being paid money to have sex scenes every day or 2 or 3 times a day. No. It's abusive to your body and it's not healthy. And it's not loving. It's not loving. If you love your woman, you're not going to ask her to do that. That's just straight up ridiculous. Okay? So if your sex drive is just through the roof like that, yeah, you're going to have to self-pleasure. You're going to have to do something else because if you need to orgasm 3 times a day, and can I say this? I'm going to keep it 100. Bruh, you need something else to do. Like, you need a purpose in your life. If all you thinking about is getting off, that's it? That's what you on? No, you need a purpose in your life. You need to transmutate some of that sexual energy you have into something that can make you money. That's what you need to be doing. You spending too much time thinking about that. So I digress. But just understand, a woman is the receiver of you. We don't have the stamina. Our body does not have a man's stamina to withstand the friction, the force of being entered over and over and over. Okay? All right. So this is a grown folks conversation. Like I said, I'm going to be direct. I'm going to be direct and I'm going to do some educating and I'm going to, okay, I'm just looking at some of the comments. Yeah. People, it saddens me. It saddens me. He said that, people are not talking about sex. That's sad to me. And to think that you married this person. You stood before God, your family, the courthouse, or wherever you got married. And you married this person. You are under a legal contract with a person that you can't open your mouth and say, hey, this is not the relationship I want to have. This whole, not having sex, no, this doesn't work for me. This doesn't feel good. This feels hard. This feels like we feel disconnected. I feel unloved. I feel unwanted and undesired. Like, you've got to open your mouth and say this, whether you're a man or a woman. But you took on this person. This is a legal responsibility that you took on. And you must open your mouth and you must say something. And the same goes for the women. If the man is a jackhammer, if the man is hurting you, if the man is not pleasing you, if the man lasts 5 minutes and there's no pleasure? Whatever's going on, we have to open our mouth. This isn't pleasurable to me. This isn't really doing anything for me. This isn't enjoyable to me. This is painful to me. I am turned off, right? You have to open your mouth. So let me get back to my reasons why girlfriend is not having sex with you, okay? Your hygiene. I have to say it. Your male hygiene is not good. And women are incredibly sensitive to this. The last thing I want to do is put my mouth on your stuff and it smells bad, it tastes salty. Like, no, I'm gonna pass. I'm good. Your hygiene got to be 100,000% on point. You need to bathe daily. You might need to bathe when you come in from work, depending on what you do. And when I say bathe, I mean shower or take a bath. I need you to use a washcloth. I need you to use soap. I need that soap to be up under your arms. I need that washcloth in the crack of your behind. I need that washcloth around your balls and everywhere else. Bathe. Okay? Wash yourself with sweet smelling soap. All right? Rinse it off, and some of y'all may need to wash again. But bathe your body. Bathe yourself. If you are not clean, if you do not smell fresh, if if your breath smells bad, brush your teeth. Brush your tongue. Go to the dentist. Clip your nails. Lord, can I say that? Clip your nails. Clip your nails. And how about, let's go a step further. Clip and file your nails. It ain't even enough for you to clip your nails. If I feel, understand this, I'm a feminine woman. If I feel the slightest bit of scratch or discomfort when you touch me, that little thing will do it. It will take me from my body back up to my head. Now I'm in my body. And so when you touch me, that touch should feel good. That touch should feel smooth and soft. Put some lotion on you. Put some lotion on your body. Put some lotion on your hands. Take care of your feet. Clip your nails. File your nails. Brush your teeth. Go see a dentist. Groom yourself. Keep yourself looking good, just like you want us to keep ourselves looking good. Same applies. But if your hygiene is not good, if you smell bad, if your breath smells bad, if your teeth are jacked up, if your nails are cutting me when you touch me, if you think you're going to put your dirty fingernails inside of me or on me, I'm not doing that. So that could be the issue. And again, we have to talk about it. Ladies, you got to talk about it. I talk about it. I talk about it, y'all. Sometimes I feel bad for my man because I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say it. He is the conflict avoidant type and I am the conflict. I'm coming right in there. Did you wash between your behind, your butt cheeks? Did you? Okay. You washed all the underneath. Okay, great. Did you wash? Okay. You got it real soapy. All right, great. Like, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. If you want that kind of attention, please be well groomed. Smell good. All right. A little cologne never hurt nothing. Deodorant never hurt nothing. Brushing your teeth, brushing your tongue never hurt nothing. But keep yourself groomed, clean. It's your hygiene, some of you. Okay? All right. Some women are going through bodily changes. So we got to talk about this because, again, I'm going to keep it 100 tonight. And this is a real thing. But ladies, I'm about to turn you on to something that's going to change your life. So women go through bodily changes, gentlemen. Unlike you all, where your testosterone goes up at 12, 13, 14, and then it does this your whole life until it starts to drop down. You are losing testosterone at 40 years old, 1%. Same with women. Estrogen is starting to fall, 1% every year. Okay? And Unlike you all, a woman has a cycle. So unlike you all, where the testosterone go up and it just stay like this until 40 and start to drop down, this what a woman doing. So it's going, and then it's doing this, and then it's going around, and then, okay, here we go. Now it's doing this, and it's doing that every month. Every single month, hormones are coming and going in our body. Okay? High one day and low the next. Getting ready to have a baby one day, and nope, the baby ain't coming. So now I got to release all of this. That's a whole lot. And PMS is a real thing. PMDD is a real thing. PCOS is a real thing. And all of those conditions are going to affect a woman's hormones. They're going to affect her testosterone, her estriadol, her progesterone, cortisol, her adrenal levels, thyroid. All of that will be affected because a woman's hormones are cyclical. Unlike you all, you just get it and you have it and then it starts to drop down. It is not monthly. It's not yearly. You just have it all the time. Testosterone everywhere, all day long. And a woman, her body doesn't work that way. So there must be a compromise here to help the understanding of, okay, my woman does not have 30 times the testosterone that I do. And the hormones that she does have, they can go up and down depending on the day. So understand that. We are very different when it comes to hormones, and hormones plays a huge part. So women will experience hormone changes with the birth of a baby or carrying a baby. She will experience hormone changes later in life, perimenopause, menopausal, postmenopausal. And ladies, I'm going to keep it real with you. You need to get your hormones tested. You need to get a bioidentical hormone replacement. You need to look into that. And for you ladies who are on the pill, you're on some sort of chemical birth control, that too is not helping you. That is not helping you. That is actually stifling your normal hormone cycle. There's a huge study about women whose changes in what they find attractive in a man, it changes once they got off hormonal birth control. The study is fascinating. So women like a certain type of man when they're free of hormones, like free of the chemical hormone, when they're just their normal, regular self, they like masculine men. They like square jaws. They like hair on a man. They like to know they're with a man because they're in their feminine. But when they start taking that hormonal birth control and it starts suppressing everything, all of a sudden you got all these women who are attracted to these sensitive, overly sensitive, feminine looking men. And that's why. Like, they don't want a masculine man because that part of themselves that craves that healthy masculinity is being suppressed. So you will find that women, they can become very emasculating when they're on chemical birth control or when they're, perimenopausal, menopausal, postmenopausal. But BHRT is going to save your life. I want you to check out a company called Thrive Lab online. They are going to help you with bioidentical hormone. And when I tell you, it's going to change everything. If you are premenopausal, perimenopausal, or menopausal, you need bioidentical hormone. A natural hormone replacement, not a chemical. It's made from plants. And it is going to help. It's going to help you lose weight. It's going to help you sleep better at night. Excuse me. It's going to help you with the night sweats and the hot flashes. It's going to help with that fat around your middle. It's going to help. So that and the dietary changes. Like, you ladies have got to research this. Because the idea is that you maintain your sexuality and your sexual desire for a lifetime. I tell my clients, you should be having sex until you cannot physically have sex anymore. I have clients in my practice 60, 70 years old, still having sex. because they're doing the things necessary to stay healthy. They're doing their bioidentical hormone replacement. They're doing the things necessary to stay sexually active and to make sure that that bond that is connecting you to your person is not weakening. That bond weakens when you are not having sex with your person. Okay? So that's some of the reasons why a lot of women are not sexual or having sex with their husbands. And we have to address those reasons. A lot of those reasons can be addressed with a conversation. A lot of those reasons can be addressed through therapy or couples coaching. But we have to address these reasons. We cannot let these reasons go unaddressed. We have to say something. So women need to talk. Men need to talk. Men need to address, and I'm not talking in an angry way or an accusing way. No, you just need to say, babe, I really miss us being sexual with each other. I really miss bonding with each other in that way. I really miss you and I, having a sexual relationship with each other. That's something I want to continue. That's something I want to continue until we cannot do it anymore. That's something I need as an expression of love with you. And giving you pleasure and me having pleasure, that's something that's important to me. But you have to say that, and you have to keep saying that. I have men in my DM. Well, I've tried having that conversation, and then nothing changed, and then I just live with it. No, I'm not going to live with it. I'm not going to live with it. I'm going to keep having this hard conversation. So if there's anything that I'm doing or not doing, please let me know. If you need more, a help around the house, please let me know. I have older couples, I kid you not. I told them in their session about the bioidentical hormone for the wife who was perimenopausal. Guess what the husband told me? I'll pay for it. I'm happy to pay for it. If it brings back my wife and her libido and our lovemaking, I don't care what it costs. And when I tell you all, that was 9 months ago, things are completely different in their home. Saved their marriage. It saved their marriage. So yes, there are solutions, and you need to find them. So now I'm going to talk to the ladies. Okay? I'm going to talk to the ladies about this. And we're going to talk a little bit about what happens when we are not being sexual with our husbands. So when I use the term being sexual, that means not only are you're open to sexual intercourse with your husband, you're open to oral sex with your husband, you're open to any other form of sex with your husband. That is for you and your husband to determine what works for you all. One of the things that I feel very passionate about when I'm working with couples is that they get to decide what works for them. Okay? I can't tell you that. I can't say to you, you need to be giving more blowjobs. Like, if that don't work for you, then that don't work for you. I hope that's something you talk about before you get married. But that is for the couple to determine. They need to sit down, and the husband needs to say, this is something that's important to me. These are the sex acts that I like. What do you like? What do you want? These are the conversations that we should be having with each other, preferably before you get married. I make couples, when they're going through premarital counseling, I make them make a list of everything they do sexually, everything they don't do sexually, everything they have not tried but would be willing to try. So, like I said, we need to talk about it. This is not acceptable to me. This is not tolerable to me. I want to express my love and care to you. I want to express it through hugs. I want to express it through wonderful acts of service, making you a meal. I want to express it through giving little gifts. I want to express it with my words. I want to express it with my physical touch, with my lovemaking. So there are lots of ways that we can express our love, but one of those ways is sexual. We need to be sexual with our person. So some nights that might look like hugging and kissing, touching, right? That's what it may look like. Other nights it may look like oral sex. Other nights it may look like intercourse. Like there are so many ways that you can be sexual with your person. It may look like a striptease. It may look like role play. It may look like toys or whatever works for you all. Whatever works for you all is what works. The couple must decide what works for the two of them. But yes, hormones are released. Cuddle hormones are released. Hormones that will lower stress are released. You're going to sleep better when you have sex. Do you know having sex reverses aging? Okay, there are many health benefits to having regular sex. It will make you look younger. It will reduce your stress. It will lubricate, all your joints. It is a wonderful thing. And most importantly, sex bonds two people together. Okay? That's why the Bible says, and this is where I'm going to go off on my faith talk. So if you are not a person of faith, okay, you don't need to listen to this part. But for those of you who are believers, who are Christian, this is biblical. I'm not telling you anything that isn't biblical. In the Bible, sex is what consummates the marriage. Okay? And for a long time in our country, if you had not consummated your marriage, you could not apply for a divorce. You would apply for an annulment because sex is what consummates the marriage. And think about that. So in the Bible, that's why God says two will become one. Because guess what? When you are having sex, when you're making love with your husband or your wife, two have become one. Just by that act, you have become one. And so that in biblical times, yes, there was a marriage or wedding ceremony, but it was the consummation of the marriage. That's what solidified it. Okay? So I'm going to give my little Bible talk now. For those who fell into my DM and who left comments about, the Bible say this or that. No, and then another gentleman, no, the Bible say you're supposed to be rendering your due. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Because yes, there is some biblical, there's some biblical facts here. If you're a Christian, if you're a believer. All right, so Ephesians 5:21 through 33. Submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. So for y'all that, we've been talking about this submission thing earlier. Yes. And a part of that is you are going to be sexually intimate with your partner. Okay? So for all the women who DM'd me about how mistreated they were in their marriage and how mean their husband was and how unloving and unkind he is. Okay, it says, husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church. Ephesians 5:25. And gave himself up for her to make her holy, cleansing her by the washing with water through the word, and to present her to himself as a radiant church, without stain or wrinkle or any other blemish, but holy and blameless. In this same way, husbands ought to love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. So that's the first thing I need to tell you. That if your husband is mistreating you, he does not love himself. That should be your first clue. Because remember this always, y'all. People who mistreat other people, they don't feel good about themselves. They don't feel good about themselves. She says, what if your partner wants it 3 times a day? We actually discussed that early on. And so I'm going to ask you to go back and watch the replay. We have talked about that, and not from a biblical perspective, but from a physical perspective. We've talked about that very thing, okay, and how it's not possible for a woman to maintain having sex being entered by a man 3 times a day, every day. That's not physically possible. Bad things will happen to her body if she does that. And so a part of this idea of husbands loving their wives, they're not going to ask for that because they know that will cause harm to their wife's body. So you're not going to ask your wife to do anything that would cause her body physical harm. That's not loving. Okay? So he who loves his wife loves himself. After all, no one ever hated their own body, but they feed and care for their body just as Christ does the church. For we are members of his body. For this reason, a man will leave his father and his mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. That speaks to the love-making act. They will consummate the marriage. So yes, sex is for marriage. Like, whoever is saying that it's not, like, it is. And the expectation is that you will have sex with your husband in your marriage, and you will not, starve him, as I gave the analogy. If you are in charge of all the food in your house and you're determining when the man eats. And the reason why so many women were in the comments thinking that was ridiculous was because, again, they're not men. Men need sex like we need food or water. And however you feel about it, okay, that's how you feel about it. But that's what it is, okay? So, however, each one of you also must love his wife as he loves himself, and the wife must respect her husband. Isn't that interesting? It said it more than once. Love your wife as you love yourself. Okay? Oftentimes, couples will come to me and ask me about certain sex acts or just certain things related to sexuality in their marriage. Hebrews 13:4 says, marriage should be honored by all, and the marriage bed kept pure, for God will judge the adulterer and all of the sexually immoral. So basically, whatever you and your partner, not a third person, not a fourth person, whatever you and your partner have determined works for you, the marriage bed is undefiled. Okay, that's something for you and your partner to work out. All right. Mark 10:6-9 again talks about two will become one. At the beginning of creation, God made them male and female. For this reason, a man will leave his father and his mother and be united to his wife. That's in the Bible twice. And the two will become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no one separate. So that's in a lot of wedding vows. It's the consummation of the marriage. In God's eyes, that's what does it. Okay? All right. Proverbs 5:15-19 talks about enjoying your wife. Okay? Drink from your own cistern, running water from your own well. Should your springs overflow in the streets, your streams of water in the public squares, let them be yours alone, never to be shared with strangers. And may your fountain be blessed, and may you rejoice in the wife of your youth. So the idea is, yes, gentlemen, you are to start pleasing your wife. Your wife is to please you. Enjoy your wife. And wives, enjoy your husbands. That's the goal. That's what you're there for, to enjoy each other. And yes, sexually enjoy each other. All right. 1 Corinthians 7:1-6. We're going a little deeper. And y'all, some of y'all going to feel a way about this. You ready? Now for the matters you wrote about. It is good for a man not to have sexual relations with a woman. But since sexual immorality is occurring, each man should have sexual relations with his own wife, and each woman with her own husband. Okay? So yes, the expectation is, as the scriptures say, that if you are burning with lust, get you a wife, get you a husband. and have sex with that person. Okay? All right, let's go on. The husband should fulfill his marital duty to his wife, and likewise the wife to her husband. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but yields it to her husband. Ooh, y'all feel away. Y'all feel away right now. You feel away. Because that's precisely what it said. Because remember, two are becoming one. Okay? In the same way, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but yields it to his wife. So for all those women running into my DM saying the man was the one not having sex, the man was the one who was withholding. Same applies. Same applies. And guess what? In my mind, and I'm going to keep it real. In my mind, the solution to this, get you somebody that you want like that. Just like I talked about in the beginning of this little talk. Don't just get you anybody. Get you somebody that you want like that. That you, honest to God, want to be sexual with. Because if you just with any old body, I can assure you, because I know how women are built. Eventually, you're going to be like, nope, I'm not trying to do that. And it's boring too. It's like a formula. Nope, not interested. That's the first thing that's going to go. That's the first sign that the woman is not into you like that. So get you somebody you into, okay? Because yes, this is the expectation. And for these ladies, oh, well, why are you talking about sex? And marriage is more than just sex. Sex is a part of marriage. And you're not going to get out of that. Sorry. Most people who get married want to have sex. Okay? All right. Do not, we're going deeper now. Do not deprive each other, except perhaps by mutual consent and for a time, so that you may devote yourselves to prayer. Then come together again, so that Satan will not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. Oh, Lord. Did it just say that? That you are not to deprive one another. And if you must, it is by mutual consent and for a time. Not months, not years, for a time. Because what's going to happen? Satan is going to tempt you. I can't make this up. Okay? Satan going to tempt him or you. You leaving a crack in the door when you are not sexual with your mate. And it's so interesting to me, y'all need to go and read them comments. So many women. Well, why are you blaming us? Why are you saying that if we don't have sex with him, he's going to cheat? First of all, I did not say the word cheat. I've looked at that video 5 times. And every single time when I read these comments, I'm thinking, I didn't say that. I said, what's a man to do? I didn't say nothing about him cheating. I was asking a real question. You ain't slept with him, and I don't know how long. What's a man to do? That was a question. Like, ain't nobody say nothing about cheating. But that's interesting that your mind went there. Isn't that funny? I think that's so interesting to me. When people, they read through the lines or they see something that I didn't say, I say to myself, okay, that's clearly what needed to happen. The fact that your mind went there, you felt a way about what I said. You felt that the possibility of your man cheating if you don't have sex with him for a year, you felt that was a real thing, right? That's a real threat. Okay. That's interesting that your mind went there. Because the scripture is telling us that, yes, that's a real thing. That if you are not regularly having sex with your husband, he might be tempted. He might be tempted because the bond has weakened. The bond is weakening between you and he. You are no longer seeing each other in the sexy, sensual, connected, loving way that you should be seeing each other. This is your spouse. This is not just your kid's daddy or mother. You're not roommates. You're not, running the business of your home. This is your spouse. This is your wife. This is your husband. And so to me, it always tells me that there's work that needs to be done. There's resentments there. There's lack of communication. There's problems. And the no sex is a symptom of the problem. Okay? Just like infidelity is not the problem, it's a symptom. It's a symptom of another problem in your marriage. Okay? All right. Lord, 1 Peter 3, 1 through 7. I can't make this up. Wives, in the same way, submit yourselves to your own husbands, so that if any of them do not believe the word, they may be won over with words by the behavior of their wives. When they see the purity and reverence of your lives, your beauty should not come from outward adornment, such as elaborate hairstyles and the wearing of gold jewelry or fine clothes. Rather, it should be that of your inner self, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit. That's what I be telling my ladies when we're working on our femininity. Gentle and quiet spirit. Okay? Which is of great worth in God's sight. So ladies, it's not about what's on the outside. And I still want you to, don't get me wrong, I want you to look cute. I want you to stay fit and fabulous and fun and flirty and feminine. But work on that inside. Work on that inner girl. Heal that inner girl. Choose a man that you trust. Okay? Stop trying to micromanage and emasculate him. Choose a man that you actually trust. Because I only date men and be with men that I trust. Like, if I can't trust them, I ain't going to be with them. So, okay. For this is the way the holy women of the past, who put their hope in God, used to adorn themselves. They submitted themselves to their own husbands. Like Sarah, who obeyed Abraham and called him her Lord. You are her daughters if you do what is right and do not give way to fear. Husbands, in the same way, be considerate as you live with your wives, and treat them with respect as the weaker partner, and as heirs with you of the gracious gift of life, so that nothing will hinder your prayers. So ladies, let me tell y'all something. If your husband mistreats you, if he call you out your name and treats you like a dog, and there is any form of abuse, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, spiritual, did I say spiritual abuse? Any form of abuse. God can't even hear him. God can't even hear him anymore. His prayers are hindered. He is called upon to treat you well. Okay, so do not believe that your husband gets off scot-free. He does not. He is called upon to love you as his own body and to treat you as the weaker vessel, the weaker partner. Okay? And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. Ladies, today, y'all want to be equal, but you also want to be special. And in my book, you can't do both. We are all equal in God's sight. We are of equal value. We are different in nature. We were created for different reasons, to do different things. That's what I'm trying to bring us back to. I make content for women predominantly to teach them how to reclaim or rekindle their feminine energy, the feminine side of themselves. That's why I do what I do. I have some male clients, and I walk them through this book right here, The Masculine in Relationship, to teach them about healthy masculinity and to discover that. And guess what? I usually send them off to a male coach or a male therapist to have them. I just light that flame and I send them off to a man to keep that fire going. We both have our part to play in this. Okay? All right. Lastly, let's see. All right. Ooh, this one right here, y'all. Okay, so First Corinthians, this is my last one. 1 Corinthians 6, 12 through 20. So let me tell y'all how serious sex is. And this is very important for you to know. Okay? The Bible says that when we lay down and have sex with a person, like I said, it is two becoming one. It is like we're marrying that person. So even when there's no legality there, in biblical time, it's the consummation. That is what is cementing a marriage, the consummation. So this scripture here talks about, do you not know that your bodies are members of Christ himself? Shall I then take the members of Christ and unite them with a prostitute? Never. Do you not know that he who unites himself with a prostitute is one with her in body? He has married that woman by laying down and sleeping with her. So that's how serious sex is. Okay? It's serious. For those of you who are not married, I mean, you already know, right? So it says, for it is said, the two will become one flesh. And we've talked about that. That's many places in the Bible. Is two becoming one. And so, yes, when a man and a woman make love, when there's intercourse there, the man enters the woman, their bodies are one in that moment. So, yes, you got to be careful. You got to be careful who you're uniting your flesh with, because two are becoming one. But see, biblically, husbands and wives, they are well within their right to become one. God commands it, that two shall become one. That's what it should be. Okay? So ladies, and my Christian ladies, sorry, not sorry. You need to get to the bottom of this. You need to get to the bottom of this. One of the things that broke my heart about all of the comments that I got from men, I mean, this was heartbreaking. So everyone knows, if you're new to my platform, everyone knows I'm a marriage advocate. Everyone knows that. Especially the African American community. We need marriage. We need family. We don't need to become any more divided than we already are. It ain't looking good for us. It's not looking good for our future if we keep going the path that we're going. And most of those comments, men who were married on their way to divorce, men who were divorced talking about they ain't never getting married again, men who had never been married talking about they was never going to get married. Nope, it's not worth it. The juice is not worth the squeeze. I will never get married again. I will never get married for the first time. That breaks my heart. And all because we cannot keep our word, keep our marital vows, our contract. We can't, I'm going to use this word and y'all ain't going to like it, but I'm going to go there. Do our duty. Do our due diligence in our marriage. We cannot come together with our husband or our wife. It tears me up. The thought that, nope, there are a whole community of men out here that don't want nothing to do with women, that don't want to get married, that don't want to have families. And this is a big reason why. And ladies, please be with someone you love, be with someone you're into, be with someone that, okay, I want to be with you, I want to be sexual with you. And if anything should impede that, we have a problem. We have a problem. I got to find solutions. I got to figure this out. And ladies, explore your body. If there's shame around sexuality, if there's religious shame, trust me, I've heard it all. I've heard it all. If you had it beat in your head to be abstinent until married, there's probably some sexual shame in you. And God knows you're not going to show up on your wedding night and turn into a porn star. It's been beat down in you that you are to abstain. Sex is bad. Sex is wrong. No, sex within marriage. That's what you're built for. You're to teach each other. You're to learn from each other and grow in love. And so, yes, we're not talking about this enough in the church. I talk about it. I talk about sex all day with my clients because I know how important it is to having a healthy marriage, just like communicating. I talk about communication all day long. But nobody is talking about this. We need to talk about it. Okay? So if you have any shame around it, if you have any religious shame around it, you need to start educating yourself, reading, touching your own body, looking at your own body, getting comfortable with yourself sexually, teaching your man how to please you sexually, exploring that with him sexually, and doing the things that you need to do to come out of this head. So many women live in their head. Y'all live your whole lives in your head. The pleasure is not in the thinking, it's in the doing, the being. You have to be. Sex is something that just is. It happens. You don't think about it and overthink about it and think about it again. It just is. And so start with yourself. Start with yourself. Start getting to know your body. Looking at it, smelling it, tasting it, all of it. Get to know your body and learn to love your body, learn to love pleasing yourself, show your man, this is what I like. And there is no shame in your body. God gave you this. God gave you an organ on your body with thousands of nerves to give you pleasure. Sex is not about just procreation. That's a part of it, but that's not all of it. God gave us sex for pleasure with our husband, with our wife. Marriage is the safest container for sex. Okay? God gave us sex to keep us young, to keep our stress low, to keep everything moving around the way it needs to move. God gave you sex to bond you to your husband or your wife so that you would know that's my person. You see that woman over there? That's mine right there. That's mine. Later on is on. You see that dude over there? That's mine. All that is me. Okay? You're to bond with your person. And guess what, y'all? When you're not having sex with your husband or your wife, you and your husband or you and your wife walk into a room full of people. Your husband or your wife become like every other person in that room that you're not sleeping with. There ain't nothing special about them because you're not sleeping with them and you're not sleeping with any of these other people. No, I'm sleeping with him. Okay? That's what makes him different. He different. Okay? What we got is different than what I got with all the rest of y'all. My family, my kids, my friends, all these other people out here. No, he's different. This is me. Okay? So it is that important. It is that important. Keep the bond strong. Keep the bond strong. Stay on your man's mind. I stay on my man's mind. And when he be like, oh, that's an attractive looking woman. Well, my woman look good too. I wonder what, no, my woman do that too. Like that's where a man's mind should go. Okay? So, yeah, men find women attractive. Women find men attractive. We're human beings. That's what it is. But if you're not acting on that, if your mind is not ruminating on that, or you're not acting on that, go home, be with the wife of your youth. That's what the Bible's telling you to do. Stop letting everybody drink from your cistern. That's for you to drink from. And you stop drinking from everybody else's. Go home and be with your wife. Be with your husband. Okay? All right. Let me see your comments. Any questions? Any comments? All right. Please, Anita, repeat the part about our husbands not getting away with treating us unkindly if you have time. So, yes, the husband has a great responsibility to you as a wife. He has a responsibility to be empathetic, to be kind, to put himself in your shoes, to treat you as the weaker vessel. You all are to submit to each other. So, no. If a man is treating you poorly, if there's abuse of any kind, yes, I understand why you don't want to be sexual with him, because you are hurting me. Your words are hurting me. Your actions are hurting me. So that, again, lack of sex is a symptom of a bigger problem. Infidelity is a symptom of a bigger problem. Okay? That's what we need to understand. And trust me, I have so many couples, they come in and they think, okay, we're not having sex. They think that's the problem. That's not the problem. That's a symptom of the problem. I'm getting ready to dig up the roots of the problem, and then we're going to work on the sexual piece. Okay? But no, that is a symptom of the problem. Okay, thank you. What's the book you recommended for men? So it is called The Masculine in Relationship by G.S. Youngblood. I am going to stress that you pick up a copy of this. If you are a man, pick it up for yourself. If you're a woman, pick it up for the man in your life. I have given away 10 copies of this book because there are men in my life that I love, that I care about, that I want to see them grow, and I certainly want to see them rise in their masculine frame. They must reclaim their masculine energy, just like women must reclaim their feminine energy. We must do better. I will save this live. Yes. All right. Any questions, comments that you'd like? I was actually hoping that we would get some folks to go live tonight. People who had commented on my video, people who had questions or wanted to share their story, but I get it. I understand why you might not want to. Yes, marriage is not for selfish people. Say that again. Say that again. Marriage is a ministry. Marriage is a service. Okay? And I'm when I tell y'all, and I was going to do it, but then I said, nope, don't do that, Anita. Don't do that. Be kind. There were some comments under that video, some comments that women had left. And I mean, you talk about selfish. There were some selfish comments. Ain't nobody thinking about him. He need to use his hand. I'm thinking, what in the whole entire world? Who married this woman? And you didn't notice? Dudes, y'all gotta vet better. You have to vet better. That's the solution. Throwing out marriage is not the solution. Throwing out women, going your own way, that's not the solution. The solution is vetting. You have to learn how to vet a woman properly. And I teach women this all the time. You have to vet. You have to make sure that you put pressure in certain areas when you're talking to someone, when you're dating them, so you can see who you really got. But a lot of us are not doing that. We're missing that part. We're dating for lustful reasons. We're dating for financial reasons. We're dating and marrying because we need help. We're dating or marrying because we're desperate and we're ready to settle down and have a family with anybody. And those are the women that are not into those men like that. Them men, give them a baby or two and they're done. You're done. They're done with you. Okay? So you must vet. What's the video? I want to watch it. It is the interview I did with G.S. Youngblood. So if you go to my YouTube channel, Better Love Movement, you're going to look for The Masculine in Relationship, and it's going to talk, it's me and G.S. Youngblood, it being interviewed on my podcast. And we talk about the masculine framework. We talk about the embodiment practice. So if you are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please head over to YouTube. Please subscribe. There are over 260 videos there. A lot of my Instagram content is over there, but there's a lot of content over there that does not get shared to Instagram. So if you are not following me over on YouTube, you're missing out on a whole lot of other videos, a whole lot of other commentary videos. Please check me out on YouTube. Okay, Better Love Movement. I would appreciate it. But if you do not have any questions, you do not have any comments for me tonight, thank you. Thank you for subscribing. I am going to wrap this live up. But I thank you all so much for showing up tonight. Like I said, I was hoping to get some people to go live with me so they could kind of talk about their situation. But no, marriage is not for selfish people. It is a ministry. It is a servant. So you have to have a servant's heart to be married. And hopefully both people. And what's burning me up is so many people are saying, but what about them? And what about them? No, focus on yourself. Focus on yourself and choose well. That's what you're called to do. You're called to focus on yourself, making sure you're showing up as your best self. And your calling is to choose well. Choose a person who is doing that also. But everybody's pointing their finger. Well, what about them? And they're not doing this, and the men aren't doing this, and the women aren't doing this. Y'all, just focus on yourself. That's what I do. I don't worry about the other women, and I don't worry about the men. I focus on myself. I know what I bring, and I make sure that I vet anyone that I'm going to engage with in that way. I make sure that myself and that person, we are aligned. We are of like minds. So that way I'm giving and I'm also getting, because that person's going to give just like I'm going to give. They're going to have a servant's heart just like I'm going to have a servant's heart. That's the key. Okay? Stop letting people who do so little for you control so much of you. Woo, that's a word. So, y'all vet better. If you're not married and you tuned into this live, vetting. That is the key. I do not believe in throwing marriage away. Marriage in and of itself is amazing. It's a beautiful thing. It's the broken people within the marriage that's causing all the problems. It's like blaming pit bulls, right? It's like when we went through this season where, you know, these pit bull attacks and people were blaming pit bulls and they're evil. And no, they're not. No, they're not. They're not born evil. They are created that way. You know, they are created that way by people who are abusing them and who are training them to attack and to tear people up. Pit bulls in itself are not the problem. So marriage in itself is not the problem. It's the people in these marriages. And like the gentleman said, the selfish people. People who are walking into marriage to get and not give. This is what I wish would happen. So I wished on the wedding day, the pastor said, so what you gonna give? What you gonna give? What you plan on doing? What you plan? Like, this not about getting, it's about giving. So, yeah, do not throw away marriage. You're just gonna have to vet better. All right. I got another comment here. What if your partner seems to always be distracted and it's killing our connection so we don't communicate well anymore? Well, then I'm going to have a hard conversation. And it's going to go something like this. So while I'm at work, I'm going to text that person or maybe call them and say, hey, I would love to have a conversation with you about something. And I just want to know, will you be available later? Like maybe over dinner, or, you know, I just want to have a conversation about just something going on in our relationship that's just been, you know, concerning me. What do you think? Is now a good time or later? You know, maybe later over dinner. And that person's going to say, okay, like, well, what is it about? And you're going to say, well, I just, you know, want to discuss over dinner or later on about just us being distracted and not feeling as connected. Like, you can give them a little tiny preview, but later when you have the actual conversation, you're going to go into great detail. You're going to talk about their phone. You're going to talk about, you know, the watching of the television. You're going to talk about their friends or whatever else is creating that wedge between you. But you're going to have a hard conversation. And then you are going to set up some boundaries right there in that conversation. Right there. You're going to say, okay, so what's one thing that we could do to be less distracted? What's one thing we can both agree upon in this conversation that we're going to do to, you know, garner more closeness, more connection, more time together, or maybe it's something we need to give up, and literally come up with it right then and there. So in my house, we have a lot of boundaries around phones. We have a lot of boundaries around technology. Everyone turns in their phones at 10 o'clock. Everyone docks their phones. And you don't have to go to bed. You don't have to go to your room, but you're not going to be on your device past 10 o'clock in my house. And you can do something else, but no, you're not going to sleep with your device. You're not staying up all night with your device. At 10 o'clock, people's devices get docked. I do not allow phones at the dinner table. I do not allow phones at our game night. I don't allow phones at our movie nights. Like, I have very strict boundaries around phones and iPads and computers and all of that stuff, because it's important to me to let my children know the value of human relationship. Like, human relationship is where it's at. Okay? So yeah, you're going to have a hard conversation. You gotta have a hard conversation. All right. I am wrapping up because we've been going for about an hour and 27 minutes, but I thank you all so much. For those of you who stayed all the way through this live, thank you so much. I appreciate you. If you are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, head over to YouTube, Better Love Movement. That is my tagline everywhere. Facebook, Better Love Movement. YouTube, Better Love Movement. Looking up the podcast on any podcast platform, Better Love Movement. Okay? Thank you so much for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you. I appreciate this conversation. I hope you learned some things. I hope we came up with some possible solutions. I didn't get a chance to talk about that second viral reel, but I will talk about that. I believe I will do that tomorrow. I'll talk a little bit more about the viral reel that I have about attention. That auntie wisdom that young women hate. They hate that. And like I said earlier, it's because they didn't grow up in community. They're not used to people telling them anything. But that's all I know. That's how I grew up. Everybody was in your business, and that's just what it was. And you couldn't get away with doing all this stuff because everybody was in your business. Everybody was going to be, knowing your business, and it was going to get back to your people, and then they was going to say something to you. So that's how I grew up. But today's young women, they didn't grow up that way. So that's why they feel so offended by me saying something. But that's a talk for another day. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful evening. And as always, stay open to love.